What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we love to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. And this week, on the Marvel Movie Marathon, we're talking about Thor Ragnarok. We are rounding out the Thor trilogy. There's no other Thor movies ever. It's Thor, Thor the Dark World, and Thor Ragnarok. That's it. That's what I remember, right?
Right. That's all I remember.
Great.
Well, if they were to make a fourth one, I think it'd be cool.
Breaking down Thor's character and maybe his relationship with his girlfriend and, kind of developing that. And
Dude, that would be good. Yeah.
maybe if they brought back Mjolnir.
Dude, what if we casted like a big time actor to play the villain in that one?
Don't call me crazy here, but Christian Bale.
I love the
What do you
Dark Knight.
think?
Which villain would he play?
Dude, the Machinist was so good.
Gore, maybe? One of the coolest Thor villains ever.
The God Butcher?
The God Butcher.
That'd be a great. They probably have to do rated R though with that movie.
Taika would nail it. He would nail it.
Taika would hit it out of the park with that.
There would be no goat jokes at all.
That would be an epic movie. That would happen in the future. But now, gentlemen, we're here to talk about, as we've said, Thor Ragnarok in the Marvel Movie Marathon. We are edging ever so closer to Infinity War, the end game. We've got a couple movies left, and this one, almost pretty much puts us right there during those events. And we're definitely going to talk about that and all of the things that make up this film, as well as a very, 90-degree, maybe even 180-degree turn to Thor's character and almost pretty much everyone else's. There's a lot to talk about this movie as Thor gets taken in a very new direction by Taika Waititi and company from Marvel. They needed a revamp. This was the film. And in 2017, people ate this up. This was the stuff. It ended off Marvel in 2017. It made a heck of a ton of money. And in many people's eyes, Thor was back. But guys, we are 6 years removed now from Thor Ragnarok.
And One Love and Thunder away too. So.
Yeah, that movie we were all joking about, it did come out and it wasn't very good.
Unfortunately.
So how does this movie feel now to us? That's what we're going to talk about. And I'm very interested. I know I certainly have quite a bit to say going forward. But before we do, again, I want to say two things. I want to, again, appreciate, I want to throw it your way, just again for getting us over 500 subscribers. We are now at, I believe, 519. You guys keep subscribing. You guys keep watching.
Thank you.
There is an epic video that I believe, as of this recording, it'll be a couple days now that it'll be out when this posts. There's an epic video detailing the future of this podcast. What's next for this podcast? Go check that video out. It's 2 minutes long, and there is a little question we pose to you guys on where we're taking our podcasts in the future. So go check that out. It's a great video, and I would say go comment on that video. Let us know what you'd like us to do in the future. But for now, in the present, we're here to talk about Thor Ragnarok. So, gentlemen, let's open our sling rings and head over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's too strong. Without my hammer, I can't.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers? That hammer was to help you control your power, to focus it. It's never your source of strength.
It's too late. She's already taken Asgard.
Asgard is not a place. Never was. This could be Asgard. Asgard is where our people stand. Those people need your help.
I'm not as strong as you.
No. You're stronger.
Thor is imprisoned on the planet Sakaar, where he must fight the Hulk in a gladiatorial contest. He escapes and teams up with his brother Loki and the Valkyrie to return to Asgard to stop his long-lost sister Hela from destroying the whole place. And that is your plot summary. Very smooth, very simple for Thor Ragnarok. This is a movie, gentlemen, about many things, including a couple friends from work. And I was remiss at the start of this podcast because I did not introduce my own friends from work, meaning number one, first and foremost, on the Marvel Movie Marathon is Mr. Ethan Westloff. Ethan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, boys. I'm very excited to be here talking about Thor Ragnarok, and we talked about it in the opening. about Thor: Love and Thunder, the second Taika Waititi film. All I'm saying is if we watch Thor: Love and Thunder again, we're gonna have to get help, because we're gonna need help to get through that movie. Okay.
100%. 100%.
Agreed.
One person who does not really need a lot of help is Mr. Micah Head. Micah, how are you doing?
I am doing well. As you would say, life finds a way.
Finds a way.
Nice.
And life sure is finding a way today. I am doing great today.
You gotta find a way to implement the Jeff Goldblum, because he is, I think, one of the highlights of Thor Ragnarok. And I, of course, am your co-host, Ben Rayside, on the Marvel Movie Marathon, talking Thor Ragnarok with you guys this week. Guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Thor Ragnarok. A complete, as I said at the beginning, kind of a 180 shift
Whole pivot. Yeah.
on Thor's character. But before we get into his character, which is a big part of this movie, I want to know your guys' relationship. Were you, like everyone else, were you hot on Thor Ragnarok when it came out? I'll shoot this one to Ethan first. What do you think about
Oh
Thor?
yeah, I was hot on this. This was the definitive Thor film for me. Like, yeah, I watched that first Thor film that was on Netflix, binged that over and over and over. Thor: The Dark World I didn't watch too many times, but this one I love to death. It's got Hulk in there. It's got Chris Hemsworth doing his improv. You know, it's just a very fun movie. And I did see this one in theaters, and my relationship with this one is every time I've rewatched it, I have liked it more and more. But this most recent, I got thoughts on my most recent rewatch of Thor Ragnarok, because up until this point, I would say hands down, this is the best Thor film. Up until this point, I would say that. But I don't know, guys. I do not know if I can confidently sit here and say that. And yes, if I were to go back 2 years and look at myself where I am now, I'd be like, Ethan, you are an idiot. This is easily the best Thor film. But now, far removed from
Love and
where
Thunder's
we
out.
are.
It's-
Love and Thunder's come out. We got to do the marathon. We really enjoyed that first Thor film. I'm ready to talk about it.
Is this the best Thor movie?
That's-
Okay.
That's the question I'm going to
So-
be tackling today.
So you ate this movie up
Oh, I
when
ate
it
it
came
up,
out.
yeah.
Micah, did you do
And
the same?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't watch this in theaters. I was a Netflix boy. I watched this on Netflix when it came out. I believe, I totally watched this after Infinity War. So I had no idea what was going on the ship at the beginning. I was like, oh yeah, cool, cold open. That was cool how they just kind of throw you in there. Sure.
Amazing, Micah.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I watched it just like with Guardians 2 after I watched Infinity War. I watched Guardians 2, I watched Black Panther, I watched Ragnarok. I really jumped back on the train after Infinity War came out. So this was kind of this was a different experience for me this time watching, because I never had the initial hype of this movie. I remember even coming off of it the first time, I was kind of like, yeah, it was okay. It was a Marvel movie. I mean, but I had Infinity War under my belt. I had Guardians 2 under my belt, like fresh off. And going to Ragnarok, I was like, okay, yeah, it's just a comedy movie. But I wasn't too fond of the story. It was just kind of bland. The script is very, you can tell that a lot of it is improv because there isn't much structure. But we'll get into that. Into that. It's funny. It's a funny movie.
It's definitely a funny humor is definitely one of the main elements of this movie, for better or worse. That's something we're definitely going to talk about. I also, like you got, I guess not really Micah, but I loved this movie when it came out. There was a small part of me that left the theater feeling that many moments were undercut by a joke humor, the MCU humor that we've grown so accustomed to, for better or worse, over the past few years. But a lot, I didn't really think about that because of how much fun I had at the movies in 2017 with Thor Ragnarok. I had a great time. This was a good movie to watch, as well as the world building and character building for the MCU. I think is on full display. Loki, Hulk, Thor. There are some nice little payoffs for longtime MCU fans. There's a nice little
Strange in there.
Doctor Strange,
With
which
his cleaning gloves.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Thought I
Like-
washed some dishes.
Benedict Cumberbatch was introduced into the MCU a year before this movie came, and it's like he was always there.
I know.
Oh,
It's so seamless.
Yeah.
I love even today, like you see him just appearing in No Way Home, and it's just he's just that guy. It just feels right to have him a part of stories like this.
You expect him to be. He's like, I like to
I wish
say
he was in more
that
stuff.
he was. I mean, he's in a lot, man. He really is in a lot. Between him and Wong, I'm pretty sure there's not one MCU project that like one of them doesn't show up in.
Miss Marvel,
But yeah, the good ones. But
Moon Knight.
I just like I said, good ones. Anyway, that aside, it has some great MCU moments, but on my most recent watch, I'm with you, Ethan. I don't know if I can sit here.
hate this, man. Yeah.
We have gone through every single Marvel film that's ever been put to theaters up until now. This is number 47. We've been through 47 Marvel films now, and 3 of them have been Thor films. Back to back. I also don't know if I can say that this is the best
Isn't
Thor
that
movie.
weird? That's weird.
That's
It's so
weird.
I
Yeah.
remember when this was coming out, everyone was like, "This is a 90% movie. This is like this is one of the greatest Marvel movies ever." And I was surprised when I wonder if I have the list here, but Phase Zero just did a not too long ago. They did a ranking of everything, and Ragnarok didn't even make the top like 5. And people were. I remember this was like second place, third place before Infinity War though. When it came out. And now people just aren't as hype about this movie.
I would say a lot of that has to do with Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder, I feel, and we're not going to get so into it. We already have our thoughts on, you can check out that podcast on the channel a couple of years, it was a year ago, but I think Love and Thunder has made us realize a lot of the
Reframed.
tropes.
Yeah.
And also we really liked that first Thor movie, guys.
We did. Like
And-
that was one of the most surprising watches for me. Like how much we enjoyed that first Thor film. And that's like, I don't want to be dunking on Ragnarok because that's not what we're doing. We're just saying it's not as clean cut as we thought that this is the top one.
This is character development for us in our relationship with this movie.
And cinema.
And cinema, honestly. Like, the older you get, what do you appreciate in films?
This movie is closer to in time to when Martin Scorsese says his famous line of Marvel movies are the amusement parks of the theater, and this is very much clear evidence of that. With an amusement park, you ride a couple rides, you're having a blast these first few times, but you can't really dissect it like you can an art movie. You can't really go back to it and think, oh yeah, this is just as good as the first time I watched it every single time, because it doesn't go stale. There are movies that don't go stale, and unfortunately comedies are just, some comedies, not all comedies, don't fall towards that trope.
Right.
I want to say, though, that, like, I very much disagree with, what's his name? Scorsese.
What's his name?
I very much disagree
That one
with
guy.
Scorsese's comments about the Marvel films, but if you want to take what he says and apply it to the MCU, this one might fit his bill.
It would.
I don't know if I would say that. And I would also like to make something clear right off the bat. I really like this movie.
Right, yeah.
I really like Thor Ragnarok.
It's not
Like,
a bad movie.
I'm not here to diss on it. All I have said is I don't know if it's the best.
Right.
When before, I think you could confidently say it. I really like a lot of things in this movie. But Ethan, it looks like you're about to say something. Otherwise, I say we go into Thor's.
Go for it.
I say we go into Thor's character. How do we feel about the shift? We've had many Avengers movies, Thor movies with him as a more serious tone character, and right off the gate, I don't know what you're thinking. Oh, Thor's in a cage. Oh,
The Thor
you know,
we know and love has gone to Valhalla.
this is a different
But
character.
here's the thing, that the Thor that was before this, yeah, he was good in the first Thor movie, but since then, they ain't done nothing really substantial with
Nobody's
him.
really taken and ran with him. And that's what I love so much about the first 2 Thor movies, was he was so unique. he had these little character tropes, kind of like what Drax does. But then Drax kind of took all the cool things that Thor does and made it his own character.
Further explain what you're saying.
Where there'll be jokes that go over his head because he's so far removed from Earth.
Okay.
And now it's like, you can't have two Drax.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just, all right, we got to change his character completely. And I think it was the right move in the long run, just because there is Drax. But still, this isn't Thor. This isn't the Thor from the previous movies. And it's sad to see, because I was a big Thor fan. In our watch through, I loved Thor, the first movie. The Dark World, I think that they did some good things with the Thor character. And now it's just, and it makes me feel like I didn't even have to watch those movies in some ways.
Well, I disagree with that because his journey's still there, and you get the culmination in.
It's like a new Spider-Man.
Okay,
I'll say that. It's Thor, but it's a completely different take.
So what do you say to the people who will tell you that, oh, well, he spent many years with the Avengers. Him as a person is totally likely to change because now Earth and joking and all these characters will rub off on him, and he's not on Asgard always where everyone's serious.
Are we to assume that they've been together off screen a lot? Like, I think in the movies they've only maybe been together a month or two. Like,
in the films, they've been a team for 3 years.
For 3 years, yeah, but they haven't. Have they like lived in the same house?
If you plug the great movie Thor: Love and Thunder, you will see that Thor revisits Earth quite a bit. But I just want to roll off what you're kind of hitting at is I think Thor right now still very much where I love him. I like this direction. It's a little different. It is. He's a little more goofy. I think he's not as serious as he wants to be. But in this movie, I still think when they need him to be right, he's right. And that rolls directly into Infinity War because his character in Infinity War is the guy.
Perfect.
That is Thor in Infinity War.
Without getting too into it, I agree.
Right. When we start getting into, because I got some takes about Thor in Endgame. That's where I'll start to come out.
Plays Fortnite.
But plays Fortnite with Korg and Meek. But as of right now, I don't think they've ruined it. Yeah, it's different. It's different from what Thor was. What do you got to do, Micah?
Mike is getting out of his chair. He's getting out of his chair.
He's going to go get some help.
Right now.
I forgot I've got Korg and Meek.
He's grabbing. Oh my goodness.
How
All
can I
right.
forget the one Avengers Lego set I have?
There we go.
Amazing.
Brothers fell over. Okay.
Without wrecking the display.
All right.
Perfectly. Nicely done, Micah.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Hopefully our camera doesn't go down this week.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm back.
So
Anyway,
Thor,
interrupt.
Thor's
You
character.
just mentioned the best characters in this movie, so I had to get my Legos.
Yeah, it was weird seeing Korg in a context where he was enjoyable and funny, because I'm gonna try to not
Spoiler alert.
talk about Love and Thunder as much as I have been.
Yeah.
Sounds like you really love that thunder.
I love that thunder.
But I agree, Ethan. Thor is a character, like, straight up. When they need him to be right, there are definitely moments in this where he pulls off being serious, he pulls off being jokey. The balance is mostly like 85% good, I would say.
And I took notes, guys. Zoom in on that on the camera, guys. You see this note? So I tried taking notes. I wrote one line down, but it's the opening line. Says, "Son of a bee." You remember when he says that? Mm-hmm. Thor, son of Odin. You know, and then and that's I remember what I was trying to write, Micah. But that is what changed the character of Thor. That opening scene, that opening line. That's when you're like, okay, this guy's gonna be different right away. He's making quips.
I didn't hate it at the time. I don't know if I really hate it now. I think a lot of Thor's jokes in this movie.
He's very
pretty good.
Yeah. The first scene I feel didn't land for me, but a lot of the everything after pretty much hit pretty consistent.
I think this movie has some really great sequences, good humor. I think it's super fun. Like Hemsworth and Ruffalo just talking.
Yeah.
That killed me. I loved all that stuff. That was great.
I didn't like the like apartment scene with Hulk and Thor as much. I thought that. All right, we're finally here.
All right, hold up.
We're here.
Let me intro this for
you
Micah,
have to.
because for years on this podcast, and I legit mean this, Micah has talked about the infamous Hulk voice in Thor Ragnarok. And Micah, the time has come for you to share
Dish it out.
your
This is-
unfiltered thoughts
Oh, blankety
on
blank,
the
blank,
Hulk
blank.
voice.
This is the first movie where they don't have, or where they have a large portion of Hulk's dialogue is Mark Ruffalo just vocated down. And it sounds so digitized and awful. And once you pick up on it, you can't turn it back off. It's just constantly, it's not a person. It's not Lou Ferrigno anymore. It's just it's just Mark Ruffalo with a TikTok voice scaler down. And it doesn't sound good. It sounds so bad. And that ruins Hulk's whole dialoguing character for me. That's another thing. That's not Hulk. Why is Hulk calm? Why is Hulk like not hulking all the time? Why is he not running and jumping and smashing things all the time? He's laying down and he's calm, but he's not Bruce. Okay, we get a little bit of an explanation where he's like trapped in the back and something with Sakaar, and I can see how, because time passes differently in Sakaar, he has a way longer cooldown. So every time he gets amped up, it would be the same ratio, but still, I don't like Hulk in this movie. What I like what I like in this movie though is this has what I'm assuming is a solid screenplay. They knew exactly what beats they wanted to hit in this movie. They knew exactly what frames. There's a lot of frames that are super sick in this. There are action sequences that are very well choreographed. Whenever Hela is, her whole costume thing is sick. Her swords are cool. When she holds Mjolnir and just breaks it, bet you think I didn't know how to do that or whatever. So cool. The scenes where Odin is dying on the cliffside. There's what's the Rainbow Bridge called? I don't remember.
The Rainbow Bridge.
The Rainbow Bridge, where you meet your dead dogs.
The
in heaven.
Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, that one. All the scenes of Asgard far out are sick. I love it. I love how this movie looks.
I'm okay. So
Sakaar looks sick.
I'm gonna
Go back.
push back on that one actually,
Really?
because I think there's a lot in this movie that does look good. I think there is some really dodgy CGI that I really noticed this time, and actually like CGI usually doesn't get me, but this time for some reason I just was not a fan.
The Asgard stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
Asgard does
Yep.
not. You can just tell that is
Nothing.
not an army right
Nothing-
there.
The CGI skeleton army actually made me the most mad, oddly enough, because she is resurrecting what should be a very imposing, intimidating, and cool looking army, and I don't give a crap about any of it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is just a disposable CGI army.
It is.
I can't get invested in any of it, even though the cool designs, that's fine, but
Even when Hela destroys the Asgardian army, there's no weight to that at all, because so in the first Thor, they do such a good job at building Asgard and the beauty of Asgard, and the lore of it is so nice. And not that that's not here, but it's just so CG. It's like people complain about the volume a lot in Disney Plus shows. This felt very volume-esque to me. It felt green screen. You knew they weren't actually there. They weren't actually fighting. And that's not. It'll be interesting to see how we feel when we hit Infinity War and Endgame, because if I'm feeling this now, I wonder how I feel then. But it's just so evident that Hela is beating a fake, weightless army.
If only Thor had some mighty men to be on his side that they didn't kill off in 2 seconds.
that's another that they
Warriors
really
3.
get
3
rid of the
seconds.
dead weight in this movie, for better or worse. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend that I was attached to the Warriors 3.
But they could have made us attached in this movie. They had ample time.
I
They
agree,
killed my boy Shazam.
but like
Just like that.
straight up, man.
And Billy the God Butcher is
And
in this.
Ray Stevenson,
Yeah.
may he rest in peace. Like Just straight up.
I forgot
done.
he was in that too.
He's Volstagg, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, our boy, who we actually I liked his character in the first one. He gets a little bit of screen time, but in this, they're just done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they didn't do that to Heimdall, even though he is much more of a sidelined character. They had to, though. They had to sideline those
The
characters.
Heimdall stuff, though, the little bit we get,
Yeah.
he's so
That's
good
what
at
I'm
that.
talking
He's
about.
still the goat.
That's the screenplay.
He's so good, yeah.
oh
and
man, I
he's-
loved his just
He's very Moses-esque,
Yes.
you know?
Yes,
very
he is.
fluid in his sword movements. That great sword movement is so good. We haven't seen something like that in Marvel.
Agreed. And now I want to go back to Hulk. You made some pretty serious accusations against the character of the Hulk in this movie. I don't know if I've ever had an issue with his voice. Maybe you've picked up on, what did you say? It's digitized?
It's digitized. It's not some guy with a deep voice. It's Mark Ruffalo that they just turned the pitch down.
I only noticed that because there has been 30 movie buildup of you trashing on it to where like I was hypersensitive. All right, I'm gonna pay attention to Hulk's voice.
That's just something that
And
I
to
noticed
me,
the first time.
It sounds very similar to how he sounds when he's like puny god.
Right.
Very similar.
I think
almost
it's
the
just
same
more
to me.
It's more of a cinema sin to me because he talks so much more in this movie.
He does.
So I get to hear it more often, and I just don't like it. I never have.
You were saying
When he
don't
has
like Hulk?
one or three lines, when he has like 5 lines in a whole movie in Avengers,
I think that's
It's
one of the
different.
coolest parts about this movie, though, is that we get that meat of Hulk that we've never gotten before. That was your
I've
complaint.
seen a lot of meat in Hulk.
Yeah,
There's actually
That's definitely
too
true.
much.
Hey,
we see a couple cheeks of Hulk.
that's true. Couldn't be
But
better.
I like
Yeah?
Hulk in this movie. I do. I think
I
it's
do
really
too,
fun.
yes.
It's very different from how we've seen Hulk before. I like the way, because you're saying Hulk's a big rage monster in all the other movies. This time he's had time to sit, be Hulk. He is probably, I don't know, 8 years old as the Hulk. So we get to see an 8-year-old Hulk stomping around. That's why he's a little different, you know, and he's stuck in that form. He gets to really be the Hulk. I think that's cool.
And I also like how when Mark Ruffalo comes out, the interplay that we talked about between him and Chris Hemsworth, like, holy crap.
Can't wear this. This is Tony's suit.
Sun's going down, sun's getting real low.
That's all that is really good.
Come on.
There's like a cheesy smile, and he's like,
That's so good. And then when he's like, "What, John? You love this planet? What's going on?" He's like, "Maybe the fact that I'm on an alien planet designed to stress me out is making me feel a little weird." Like, and it's like veins are popping out. Like, they are both very good comedically. We haven't seen it yet, and sure, maybe we, as a part of their character, it's another character step to grow with those two. But I don't.
But is it a
I don't
good
hate
time
it.
to watch?
Absolutely, it
watch.
is.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I really like when Mark Ruffalo plays Bruce Banner in this. I like their little Bruce banters back and forth are very good. His Duran Duran shirt. He's always
Yes.
picking at his crotch trying to get the underwear out, and he's like, "Oh man, this is tight."
Tony's got some tight pants. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really good, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie just fits like a glove into the MCU.
Like a gauntlet.
A better pull. When Hulk is just throwing Thor around and Loki stands up, that's how it feels. Like that.
That's a great
Come
scene.
on.
That's so good.
And so
man.
I remember sitting in the theater first time watching that scene, and I stood up and I was like, "No freaking
You stood
way."
up
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
theater.
Because of that moment, because only I and my brother were really in tune and noticed.
I was the only
that it was
elite
a-
fan in the theater, guys.
only real
I was.
me.
I'm not ashamed to plug it either, guys. Like, shameless plug. I loved it. Might be one of the best moments in the movie if you're a longtime fan of the MCU. It's so good.
It is,
And he does it
yeah.
just like it. It throws
Same
him
shot
around.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loki, guys. Loki's in this movie. Though. Like,
Loki's good.
come on.
Loki's
He's
good.
so good.
This is a Loki we love. This is when, like, we've enjoyed Loki before, but this is where he gets the most meat. And I'm confident the love he got from this specific movie is why we have a Loki show today.
Have I told you guys about my cousin?
Your cousin's name
My
is
cousin,
Loki.
No. My cousin's name is Taylor.
Okay.
But she was part of this crowd I don't know if you guys know about the Hulakians, and Loki is also part of that group.
Loki. Okay.
The Hulakian,
Doctor
Loki.
Who,
yeah,
Sherlock
yeah,
Holmes.
yeah.
Yeah.
She had this obsession, along with a lot of people that I knew, but she was the closest to me, where they were just obsessed with Loki. Do you guys see why? I mean, we are 3 movies
Yeah.
in. Like, no, like obsessed with Loki.
Well, I've never been particularly obsessed with any celebrity ever.
No, not celebrity. Not
The character.
the
Oh,
character,
the character of Loki.
yeah.
Oh, I can absolutely understand being obsessed with a character.
There's a bad boy appeal to Loki. You know?
But his acting, the way he acts, like
I do like how he holds himself.
when they go into that room and it's like I brought you a surprise and he just sits there, surprise. The way he carries himself. yes.
I love the recurring joke of he has to throw something at him to make sure he's real.
Yeah. But there's also this
Second movie in a row where they do the same thing where if you really cared, you'd be here.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Great pull. I didn't even pick up on that. They're right after each other. But I mean, Loki's had that's his shtick almost. Come on, you didn't think I'd actually come and visit you, you know? Loki, yeah, right. Loki, great. Another great character. Come on. Did you want to say something else about Loki?
No, I love the shot of him at the end. You know, when he picks him up off the Rainbow Bridge, you know, rescues Asgard. That's good stuff. And I love that he gets the throne for a little bit. Loki does. And that the play sequence is great. That's such a good. That's so fun.
Dude, Matt Damon and
Like that is genuinely like
what's his name?
so funny.
Yes. And the fact that Matt Damon is playing Loki is so good. Chris Hemsworth's brother
That's who
is playing Thor, and then Sam Neill from Jurassic Park fame comes out and plays
the only Jurassic Park person that's in this movie, right?
No, we definitely need to talk about the Grandmaster. Come on. Jeff Goldblum, the Grandmaster in a few scenes, but I like in most movies, I think he steals the show.
His second appearance in the MCU. He's in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 credits. That's a little plug.
Right.
Yeah, I felt cool for noticing that.
Yep.
Actually,
Definitely.
that would be his. This would be his third credit because what's his name? Team Daryl.
That's after this though.
No, that was promo. That came out before, didn't it?
No,
I'm pretty sure it
that
came
would
out
not have-
afterwards because it was after his fall from grace on Sakaar.
That's true. That's true.
I think,
This
if I
guy's
have my
not there.
timeline right.
well,
It's a great video though.
he was great in that too, and I think that if you want to skip this movie and just watch Jeff Goldblum be Jeff Goldblum, watch the Team Daryl thing.
Man.
It is so hilarious,
Yes,
man.
it's good.
I watched all 3 of those back to back. The Team Thor Part 2, and Team Daryl. It's so good.
You can find those all on YouTube. If you haven't seen them and you're a fan of the Marvel movies, you got to go and watch
My
them.
favorite line that Jeff Goldblum says in the movie is when someone does some minor offense towards him and his assistant hands him the stick and he's like, why are you handing me the stick? He just did this. It's not I'm not going to melt him for this.
Right. It's not a melting offense. Come
not a
on.
melting
what are you
Yeah, and
doing?
he's Jeff Goldblum's one of those guys you just listen to talk,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just so good.
I feel like in person, man, I would hate to be around him. But in a movie,
No way.
I love this guy.
I would love to do a one-on-one interview with Jeff Goldblum.
I wouldn't be able to handle his energy in person, but listening to him, like if it was a comedy show or something, I could do that.
That one scene where he's talking and they have the hunter behind him and he's like, "Oh, I just love it when you come and visit." Like, you know, what do I always say when the hunter comes around here? She's always the trash. Were you just waiting to say that? Like, wait, what? No.
I wasn't even gonna say anything close. The best.
I was gonna say the best. The way that he can deliver, I mean, much better than I can, is very good. And if you're going for comedy, which this movie was, Jeff Goldblum fits the mold perfectly as the
Saves the
Grandmaster.
movie for me.
So, what?
Saves the movie for me.
That's a bold take.
This takes
What?
it from a 2.1 to an, I don't know.
All right, you're
I'm just
being
kidding. He really
facetious.
amplifies this movie. I love
Yes.
when Loki is just discovers that Thor is in the same place at Sakaar with him, and he's like, "What are you doing here? What? I've been, dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards." And then they're like whispering to each other, and then the Grandmaster's like, "Why are we whispering? This is so."
It's just, and he's standing
Right
right
there.
there.
It's
playing his
literally
piano.
like a foot away. That's a good shot. Yeah.
Right.
I love to whisper.
I have heard a statistic. I don't know if you can back me up on this. 80% of this movie's dialogue was improvised.
Basically,
Pretty much like that's a lot. It
It
had
is
a
a
very
lot.
bare bones
including the friend
structure.
from work line,
I can't
which
fault
is a
them for that.
Make-A-Wish kid. Can you believe that?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Yes, indeed. Which is very
Yeah,
epic.
Taika Waititi said 80% probably.
80%. That's
That's a lot.
That's a crazy. That's like
Big
Iron
amount.
Man.
And it works for a lot of this movie. But the improv stuff doesn't work. Comes to the villain, Hela.
Oh,
What do we think about Hela?
We got to talk about her. One of the weaker,
Kate Blanchett?
definitely
Yeah.
one of the weaker MCU
She's definitely
villains.
one of those villains that's just there to have a couple really cool looking scenes, but really you don't fear her at all because you know that Surtur is there looming and can defeat
Well, like
Mr. Krabs.
Asgard's destroyed. It is.
Clancy Brown.
That's huge. But like Thor and Loki are not there to suffer through that with the Asgardian people. Like this is a very different movie if Thor and Loki are trapped on Asgard while all of this is happening
Yep.
and going down. But the movie that we get, which is also super fun, they're trapped on Sakaar, a completely different place. And I don't think those two mesh ever. Because whenever
It does once with Heimdall. I love that scene.
Heimdall's great. Yes.
Heimdall, when he gives Thor his eyes, I love that scene. That is a glimpse of a different movie that we could have gotten that would be so much more
But-
serious in tone, that would have really amplified the Thor character and shown him as a leader. But it doesn't. We don't have that.
But no, whenever it because I love the Sakaar stuff, but I think the idea of what's happening on Asgard is really good. But whenever you cut from the Sakaar fun shenanigans improv stuff, and you go to what's Butcher's name in this movie?
Billy Butcher. I don't know.
Billy. Oh, you're talking about the Executioner?
Yes, the
yeah.
Executioner.
Scourge.
Whenever you cut, whenever you cut
always
from
thought of-
him and Kate Blanchett, like Hela, whenever it cuts from the fun stuff to that, I'm always like, oh, I don't care about this
Yep.
side of it, which sucks because I should care that Asgard is getting taken over and destroyed, but the movie doesn't make me care in that way.
Every
Not
time I
once.
expected Scourge to say his name was Laserface.
Even when they go and actually
face.
destroy Asgard, it's played off as a joke.
Yeah.
It's, I think, one of the biggest offenses because I know the whole mantra and theme is Asgard's not a place, it's a people, but this is a place that we've grown
That was
with
very,
for-
very
I mean,
cool and-
yeah,
We could have
like-
lived without Hulk jumping towards Surtur and
Like even so Thor Dark World gets a lot of hate, but even when the Dark Elves go and invade Asgard, there is more weight
Oh,
to just
yes.
Frigga getting killed
oh yeah.
than there is to the entire planet getting destroyed. You know what I'm saying? That's so weird, but that's just down to execution. And I'm not saying that. What are you on? Snapchat?
No, Be Real.
think it's a Be
he's
Real,
on the
yeah.
Be Real.
We're good. We're good.
But I totally agree with you. Absolutely. Like, oh, those foundations are gone. Looks like we won't be able to rebuild Asgard. All right.
Okay, I love
Okay.
that. I love that line.
I just, as that being a joke,
We can rebuild. We can have a sanctuary for everyone in the galaxy.
but imagine that scene with flashes of old Asgard and what that meant to Thor and Loki and the Asgardians, and having it be a much more serious tone. I feel like it would have worked better. But
Like, you
you're
get-
in a comedy,
Yeah,
so
you get his monologue in Infinity War about everything he's been through. This is like the most tragic character in the MCU, and this is the direction that they take him on. And yeah, it's super funny that this is stuff that's coming up now years and years removed from actually loving this film.
Yeah. But it's a big sin. But I think what is not one of the big sins in this is we kind of touched on him a little bit, is Scourge, the Executioner. Minor character, but I just want to shout him out because I think he is a bright spot in this movie.
Yeah.
I actually do like his characters. Pick these up on a place called Texas. Des and Troy. Love that joke.
Put them together, go destroy.
They destroy. And I love his last stand, which is taken straight out of the comics of him with 2 guns taking down the whole army. It's the best point in the movie with the army, I think.
He dies, yeah. You know, it's
And he
like
sacrifices
sacrifices
good
himself.
sacrifice, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I do like Carl.
right.
Carl
Stuff.
Urban. Behold, my stuff. Yeah. Yes. Good meme also.
This is there are a lot of memes in this. A lot of I've never met this man in my life.
Great meme. Yep. I know, but he can. Another good
you
meme.
get the great the Thor squint, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who else do we need to talk about? I think.
We have not mentioned Valkyrie yet.
Ooh, Tessa Thompson. Yes.
Who
this
apparently is a would you guys have gotten that she is I don't know. Oh, Ethan, that's something I want to talk about. You brought up right when Valkyrie was being introduced in this movie. You brought up that she was in a list. That entrance was in a list of top
Oh,
entrances. What do you think?
I said that as a joke.
Oh, you did?
So, yes,
Definitely.
like someone put that in their list.
Oh, as a joke?
No, they were dead serious in their list. But
Yeah.
when I said it, I was like, that's whack that they did that.
I
But
agree. Yeah.
I find it funny that she is a Valkyrie, but she never gets a name, does she? She just is called Valkyrie going forward. I think the credits have her listed as Valkyrie.
as
Good,
Valkyrie.
good, yeah.
Like she's just like, that's like us, instead of giving Thor a name, we just call him Asgardian.
Huh.
You're Asgardian now.
Never
you know?
even thought about that.
It's interesting. I noticed that this time. But I think what she brings to the movie and the lore, like I said, I think her character would be much better in that Asgard story that we're getting, you know, where the Valkyrie were slain by Hela. You know, I think there are 2 sides of this movie that fight each other. And that's the Asgard getting destroyed, and then that's the Sicarian story, where I think they don't really mesh as well as I thought they did.
Yep, I agree. It's a problem. It is. What could have been? It's like pick a color, like Thor says. I don't know. This time, guys, seriously, this one was an eye-opening one, and I don't.
Why was Tessa, not Tessa, why was Valkyrie and Hulk in a relationship?
They're not.
They're friends.
They're
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, they're friends from work.
That's
I thought
another
it was
thing.
very heavily implied.
I want to also say that I don't really care for the character of Valkyrie.
I don't either.
Even now, after Endgame,
I like
after
her. I think she's cool.
after
I think
Thor:
the
Love and
weight she
Thunder.
has, and
You calling her, is that a fat joke?
I don't know, like the
The weight she has. I don't know.
She can
She
lift
just
weights.
she just doesn't really do it for me. We haven't talked about Korg though.
Yeah,
We
I
have
was
not
gonna
talked
say
about
he does do it for
Taika.
me.
Yes.
He's a very
Korg
does.
is good. Yeah,
he's a rock hard individual.
That to me, as not in Love and Thunder,
yeah.
barring that, this one. Hello, my name's Korg. Don't be afraid of me. I'm the
Unlike the leader
Shemata
around here.
Scissors.
I'm in made of rocks, as you can see, but
Yep.
don't let that intimidate you. You don't need to be afraid unless you made of scissors. Huh? Just a little rock paper scissors joke for you.
Dude, that's so good.
Brilliant.
He's a very minor character, but I think that he's so effective in the scenes that he is in, and I think that goes for many characters who are introduced. They don't have too much to do with the story, but they are excellent additions into this lore, the characters, and they're all funny. Like Taika Waititi, for better or worse, is great at writing funny characters. It's just, I don't know, too much of it overstays their welcome, and that comes in Love and Thunder. But here you don't get any of that. It's a very tight movie. This movie, guys, I don't even think is 2 hours long.
I can
believe
look it
It's
up.
10, I think.
Oh, is it? I thought it was 158.
210.
My bad. My information is completely invalid.
Completely
Disregard everything I have said.
Oh my goodness.
I just
Love and Thunder
Let
was
me
158.
just stop the recording right
Love and Thunder. That's what I'm thinking of. That's
Let's wrap it
158.
up. Thor was 155. Dark World was 152. So this is the longest Thor movie, actually. So you're
wow.
like the worst. You were the most wrong.
Jeez, I was
You're
just
the worst, man.
so
This is
wrong.
actually the longest movie in all of MCU.
In the entire world.
What?
This is the longest movie ever made.
Hold on. I just overall some issues that may take away from what is maybe one of the best MCU entries so far. But before we get into our ranking, I want to talk about favorite character first, because there's a lot of them in this movie. A lot of returning characters, a lot of new characters. And I'm going to throw this one to Mr. Micah first.
You always go to me. on
Micah,
movies
not
that I
always.
don't remember. That I don't remember.
You wanna throw
what
it to
my
me?
favorite-
I can throw it to
throw
Ethan,
Ethan.
yeah.
Give me a second.
Ethan, y'all
Yeah.
suck. I'm taking Loki. Come
Oh.
on. Come on. You can't give me that
It's a
first pick.
softball.
It's just because Loki's out. Season 2.
No
way.
2 dropping later.
Tonight.
It just dropped. 5
Just
minutes ago.
dropped at the time of this recording. Oh boy, let's stop the recording. No, Loki. I love what Tom Hiddleston brings to the role, and this is like he is just at his peak right now
found his
because
place.
this is when he truly makes the shift from villain to that anti-hero that we all like, because he's part of the Revengers. He is, and that is so fun to see. Just him being a good guy. He's still, playing tricks on Thor, but end of the day, I think he's very rootable in this movie, and he's very fun to watch because he gets what he wants. He gets that throne for a little bit, and you see what he turns Asgard into. It's a memorial of him. He loves himself, but you know what? I love watching him.
Yeah.
Because he's just so fun. He's just a fun character, and testament to one of the few things that we could still grab onto today in the MCU that is still so great.
Yep. Great plug. Loki, definitely a great character. Micah.
I'm going to say, we'll say Grandmaster, because I just really adored Jeff Goldblum in this movie. I loved every single line that he said was just so laughable. It was so creative. He was the best improver on set by far. And you can definitely tell that he outshines the rest when it's an unscripted scene.
You have been pardoned from life. Like, dude, that's so good.
See ya.
See you later.
See ya, chump.
Grandmaster's a great one. I am going to go with Thor for sure.
I'm really glad somebody went with Thor.
If
For sure.
That would've
you're
been
not
sad.
going to go, I think I've gone with, I think Thor's been a staple and a favorite in all of them. But this one, even though he is very jokey and some of his jokes don't land, I think most of what is done with his character is absolutely fantastic. And where he goes, I say in Infinity War, this builds to, I think, the best Thor performance. But I'll get more into that when that day comes. And it's slowly approaching,
2
guys.
weeks, man.
Slowly approaching.
2 movies away.
I just, man.
Good.
Just to think that next week I will have the opportunity to watch Thor Ragnarok or Avengers Infinity War is something that I am
As a
greatly
part of the
anticipating.
marathon. Because we
As a
always
part of
have
the
the
marathon.
ability to watch it.
Yes. But I've
But we have a
held out.
contractual obligation to watch it coming
Yes,
up.
we do.
Yeah.
Favorite scene, gentlemen.
I know my favorite scene.
Go ahead, Micah.
Heimdall's introduction is so good. I love his swordplay. I love how he just just gets it. Wah, wah, blah, blah. So good.
Wappa.
Dude, I love the whole scene. I brought it up earlier, but with the Heimdall, let me see, and then I can see you, but you're far away.
I can see you, but you're far away. Yeah.
That's good.
Dude, one of the biggest MCU sins. We talk about every movie.
I should have
but-
called Heimdall my
But
favorite. in
they
this
had
movie.
Idris Elba playing literally one of the coolest characters.
Second coolest that he's ever played.
And you-
Knuckles.
Right.
In
right.
Sonic 2.
No, he played that guy in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
We can't forget about that. Peak.
Oh, man.
Whenever he was like talking to Ghost Rider, it's like you gotta go get communion and be pardoned for your sin.
Oh, man.
And then he go and peas fire. A good movie. Go listen to that podcast.
We have
It's a
been
short
through
list
some
of
But no,
movies.
Idris Elba, they had an A-tier actor.
That's the thing. You already have an all-star cast from the first 2 Thor movies. You didn't need to go and bring in it. You did. It's great. It's fine. Whatever. But I mean, imagine a movie without these characters. Imagine a movie on Asgard starring the Warriors 3, Lady Sif, Heimdall, and Thor. That is 5 characters right there who beef up their screen time,
Right.
beef up the story,
Right.
and Hela's much more of a threat.
And
Add Loki
you
into
could
the mix.
really focus on that Asgard story.
Come on. There's your
That's
story.
Yeah.
There
Man.
it is.
Ooh.
We figured it out. Missed
Good
opportunity.
thing you said that right before we did scores, because that'll change some things.
Ooh. Well, let's get there. Ethan, favorite scene?
Favorite scene? I gotta go. The scene when he's talking to he's talking to Odin. It's like, are you Thor, god of hammers? No, he's Thor. He's Thor, god of thunder. Now, that scene, the dream scene, is great. I want to get your guys' take on this. What do you think about the needle drop when he first starts doing that? Do you like that needle
Of the
drop?
immigrant song?
Yes.
When he goes absolutely ham on the...
See,
Wasn't bad.
I never thought that song fit for that moment. I've never liked that song there. I think
They were
yeah,
going for a Shrek 2.
it doesn't
vibe.
feel right to me. The song choice.
Oh my gosh. I
don't know.
disagree.
Maybe I just don't like the
very
song.
much. I disagree. Like, dude, when he gets it, he gets the hammer, the lightning bolt, kills, takes down Hela, and he goes ham on the army with that song.
That's why I asked,
And he
because
bestows upon
because
the
I
army
know
the power of Thor, and then
Yes,
sends him out.
Love it. I love it.
no, but I really like that scene of him talking to Odin and
Yeah.
kind of the match cut of how it mirrors like Odin's death, and those are the scenes that bring this movie back to where it needed to be, where Love and Thunder doesn't have scenes like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when they're talking with Thor and Odin and Loki in the beginning, and as Odin is talking, Thor looks at Loki and he's like, "Release your magic, brother." And Loki just looks at him. He's like, "This isn't me." And
Those little lines are
it's
so
one
good.
of those very serious scenes, no jokes whatsoever.
Right.
And Asgard is not a place; it's a people. Look at this place, and it's just the music. Listen, I'm going to talk
that
about
leans
music
more
here,
to that Asgardian side of the darker
Yes.
side of the story.
which could have been. Yeah, I want to talk about music here before I talk about my favorite scene, because Mark Mothersbaugh, who did the score for Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
Heyo.
he is fantastic. Thor's music has always been good. However, it's always been inconsistent. This movie has another new, it's not really a Thor theme, it's more of a Revengers theme. Dun, 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 dun. But it's fantastic. Grandmaster's Jam Session is another highlight of the movie, as well as Twilight of the Gods. Twilight of the Gods, this soundtrack was released before the film, and I listened to the whole thing and was blown away by I just couldn't wait to go to the movie to hear it. But it's one of the best MCU, honestly the best
really like it,
scores in this Marvel marathon. It's one of the best to listen back to. I think he did a great job on the score for this movie. But the score has nothing to do actually with my favorite scene, and my favorite scene actually has to do between Thor and Loki. Another one of the only serious scenes in the movie, and is actually the elevator ride up to the thing, and they're talking about where they're at in life. At the end of the day, you're you and I'm me, and I can't change that. And Loki is sitting there. You can see he's thinking about what Thor is saying. The gears are starting to turn in his brain. You know, what I'm saying, brother, is you'll always be the god of mischief, but you can be more. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you can see it turn. I mean, that's kind of where they're going with the Loki character. But I love what happens at the beginning of the conversation, and it's quiet. And Thor just kind of says, looking forlorn into the city, he's like, "Loki, I thought the world of you." And you can see Loki's gaze change from, "Oh, whatever, this is just a conversation with my brother." And he looks at him and he starts to really listen to
That
what
was
Thor
great.
has to say. Love that scene. It's without a doubt my favorite scene between two veteran MCU actors who've been doing this for 6 years together back and forth since the first Thor movie. And I love it. Love it. Got to go with that as my favorite scene in this movie. Before we get into scores, money-wise, how did Thor Ragnarok do?
The budget was $180 million. It was the most profitable Thor movie ever, even with Love and Thunder included. It made $850 million. Love and Thunder made 760, so quite a drop off. Then Dark World made third as much, 644 million, and then Thor 1 made 449 million. So it's sitting up there with like Guardians 3, the Raimi trilogy, Guardians 2, Spider-Man 3. Yeah, they're all it made a lot of money.
A lot of money.
No Oscar nominations, nothing like that, but still solid from them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear the online scores?
Yes. Let's
All
go
right.
through those.
So, we have the Rotten Tomatoes critic score, gave it a 93. Audience was an 87. Metacritic was a 74. Metacritic user score was a 7.7. IMDb was a 7.9. Letterboxd was a 3.9 out of 5, averaging out to an 8.1 out of 10.
Wow.
8.1, giving it a ranking of 12th place.
As far as internet goes, right?
As far as internet goes, 12th place, not bad. Just above Big Hero 6, according to the internet. But the one that matters a little more than that,
We don't care about that.
the Hollywood Reporter ranking, infamous. As you may or may not know, this was the worst list we've ever found online. One of very few that I've actually found that are complete with many of the same movies that we're doing.
Yeah.
And is this better or worse than No Way Home?
They put this better. They put this better than No Way Home, I think.
You guys think this is better or worse than No Way Home?
I think No Way Home is better.
Yeah.
But the list, it's
But-
about what they.
Yeah, they think they think this is better than No Way Home.
They put No Way Home one place above
Oh.
Ragnarok.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
what place is that?
25th place for Ragnarok. 25th. So getting close to the bottom half,
Okay,
but
you
not
know what?
quite there.
Actually, I don't.
This is not
hate
a bad
that.
spot for what we see here in Thor Ragnarok. I feel this is a where I would put it.
Interesting. Revealing your thoughts a little early.
Not I wouldn't put it just below No Way Home.
Oh my
Spoilers.
god.
But like in the space, in the grand scheme of the multi list.
Well, Micah, since you're so confident, why don't you give your score?
So
Let's hear it.
Thor Ragnarok, while it was an enjoyable ride, it felt like eating candy. Not sustainable in the long run. You can't live off of movies like this.
Good analogy.
There
I like
are.
that.
It's not one you can watch all the time. It may be a roller coaster, as Scorsese put it, but there are many great shots in this movie that really make up for a lot of my score today. And with that, I just have to give it a 7.3 out of 10.
Whoa, 7.3.
7.3. I would totally watch this again. Would I watch it? Like, would I recommend it? I would say, yeah, you could watch it, but is it gonna be? Would I put this in my top 10? I don't think so.
So where does this rank as far as your Thor film goes? Thor's all the movies you've
Second
seen.
best for me. So Thor 1 was an 8.6 for me.
Wow.
Thor Dark World was a 6.6, and Ragnarok is a 7.3.
So you can confidently say, Micah,
Thor
that
1 was.
you like Thor.
I loved Thor 1. I feel it is such a unique movie. Just looking back on we were spoiled early on, and we didn't
know it.
appreciate
Okay.
the quality that Thor 1 was.
Huh.
It was just too early, before its time.
Okay.
If
I like
Thor
it.
came out today and it was the first Thor movie, like ever, first instance we see of Thor, I feel like a lot of people would have really loved that movie.
Okay.
They would have appreciated it a lot more, especially if it came out like today,
I gotta say,
the same movie.
a 7.3 is surprising. That is surprising.
Pretty
That's
low.
pretty low.
But
I'm not
remember,
gonna lie.
I wasn't super hot on this
No.
the first time I watched
No.
it. I was like, okay, yeah, it was a
just
great movie, and I've seen it. I think I've seen this movie 4 or 5 times now, so it's one of the movies I've seen more than a few. Definitely one of the movies on this list I've seen the most.
yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got to say.
Okay.
This is also the last movie of 2017,
Yes, it is.
so we'll have a ranking.
And we can also rank the Thor
The
trilogy as
yeah,
well.
the only ones that count.
Mr. Wenslav.
Oh yeah. So, I think there are benefits and negatives to how we do this, our podcast, because it is so fun to watch a movie one by one in this weekly format that we've been doing, because I've been able to appreciate films that I never appreciated before. And that was Thor 1, much like Micah was talking about. But then also doing this format, I see flaws in movies that I never saw before also. And for me, that was Thor Ragnarok, where I do think that this is a super fun movie. I think it's a great time. The humor, a lot of the humor doesn't work for me as much as it does for you guys. But I've noticed that along our marathon, we're a little different when it comes to humor. I'm a little more advanced, I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
Taika Waititi.
I love what Taika Waititi brings to the film, because you feel like, man, he pumps it with excitement and juice that it definitely needed. But then we kind of talked about it and we learned it through the course of this podcast. You have two different movies here and they don't mesh. I think if we had the fun space adventure one as one movie and then the Fall of Asgard is another movie, both those on their own, if written right, would be very, very good films. Yes. But together, like you said, the humor, the weight of what is happening doesn't work with the humor that is presented, because we see James Gunn do it so masterfully, where his movies are funny as heck. Guardians 2, really funny movie. But end of the day, I'm shedding tears over Yondu. Mm-hmm. And I feel the weight of that, and it is so good. I don't shed tears watching Thor Ragnarok, and I want to, because so much is happening. There's so much loss to this character. Thor is our big three now. He's a big three in the MCU. And now we're at a point where when the next Thor appearance happens, it better be good, because it's not an automatic win for me. Maybe Loki, maybe he comes in Loki. Who knows? But yeah, I like this movie. I don't love it. Micah, I'm going to ask you, what did I give the first Thor?
Thor 1,
just for
7.5, Dark World, a 6.
Okay. So I want to go, I did not think I would go this low, but I'll go 7.4.
Wow.
For Thor Ragnarok. Right next to you. Like, dang. This is still a very good movie, right? I'm not hating on Taika Waititi. He's a very good director, and you definitely see the 80% improv that he brings to this movie. It's really good. But I think it also takes away from, like we were saying, the world building of Thor 1, the Lord of the Ring-esque vibes you got from the Asgard side of that, and the character of Odin in that first one, the arc of Thor in that first one, the Loki aspect of that first one. I mean, Loki gets more screen time in this and he's more fun to watch, but just rewatch the first Thor if you're listening to this.
Also, I take it back what I said about the screenplay. There are no writing credits for the screenplay, so I guess it was just the writers.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Whoops.
There was no screenplay for Thor Ragnarok. So definitely a studio. They had a lot that needed to get set up for Endgame, and a lot that they just didn't know what was going to happen. So they were like, all right, we know kind of what we want this movie to be.
Even in that opening line, it's like, I traveled the cosmos looking for these infinity stones.
And you're like, whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. There's a lot right there.
I didn't know
gonna
you
gloss
were
over.
doing that.
Hold on.
Yeah, you were looking for them too?
What?
The fake gauntlet and
So
in Odin's vault.
yeah,
dang.
what the heck?
So a 7.4 and a 7.3?
Yeah, like I said, this marathon exposes cracks where I didn't see cracks before.
Yeah, definitely.
And not this, like 7.4 is still a very generous score.
That's-
yeah,
You see a lot of cracks in
True,
this?
just one
When
big
it-
green
when it-
one.
Well, when it comes to your scores versus the internet, I mean, these are pretty steep drops, I would say.
Yeah.
Internet, a lot of people really like this movie, 9 or higher.
And I still don't say I hate it.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie.
Yeah, I'd watch
is.
this. I mean, I've watched it, 5 times? This is more, like I said, more than a lot of these movies.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
Ben, do you want to know your scores? Do you remember?
Yeah,
8.5 for Thor.
Definitely
7 for Dark World.
Yeah, 7 okay. I know where I'm gonna put it. I ranked it right after I saw it. I knew exactly where I was gonna put it. I love that you make the comparison between the Guardians, how well a story and a good director can balance a humor versus an emotional story. Because I do want to feel for this movie, but I can't, because way too much humor versus a serious tone, though there are serious scenes that hit very well. And there's a lot actually to this movie that I really, really like. I would say I'm way more positive on this movie than I am negative. It's just that those negatives stand out. And this is also the very first movie where I would say that MCU humor really bogs it down. Now, here's the thing. The only thing I will say, the caveat, is that most of the humor really works even to this day.
funny.
I love the joke about the snake, how when Thor and Loki were kids, he stabbed me, you know, like that. Hilarious. Everything between Bruce Banner and Thor as a comedy, this works like a charm. It's just that it's contrasting itself with the fall of Asgard and Ragnarok.
And it's the closer of a trilogy.
And it's the closer of a trilogy. Now, a lot of this is to set up Endgame and Infinity War and where the characters are going to go, so I can understand that. I mean, you don't really close out a trilogy that well in the MCU. It's just not. You're not going to get a very definitive ending. But you do look for a culmination of events, and Asgard being destroyed is definitely a pretty significant one. I also want to say, shout out real quick, Stan Lee cameo, one of the best. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Be nice, huh?
yeah, right. Please don't cut my hair. Very good. Very good scene.
Thor's look, though, in this movie.
Oh.
Great look.
Looking clean.
Yeah.
Man. Looking clean.
He's a good
You
looking
get to
dude.
see the actual god powers when he destroys Hulk in the arena.
Action
Love
scenes.
that scene.
Yeah, action scenes.
That's fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The opening action sequence with the dragon in hell, like that. Come on, that's really
Pretty
sick. I like that too. I would say I'm hotter on this than both of you guys. I'm gonna go with an 8.
Okay.
For Thor Ragnarok. There was times, and even if you go back and watch my MCU ranked, where this would be in my top 5 for MCU films. I don't even think this broke my top 10 when I personally have this as my ranking for my personal scores. I think this is at 12 or 13, if I remember correctly. And I can say definitively that the first Thor is the best. The first Thor is the best, and I don't know if it'll be beat.
I think our scores all reflect that we like Thor 1.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it
13th
wasn't
place for you, man. Right
it
now.
13th,
wasn't until
yeah.
I watched it for this ranking for the marathon. We have a podcast. Go listen to our Thor 1 podcast
Yep.
that I really found an appreciation that I never had for it.
Yes. It is fantastic.
So unfortunately, guys, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance is now pushed down to 47th place. Every week it just keeps going down. But Thor Ragnarok with Ethan with your score of a 7.4, Ben with your score of an 8, and me with my score of a 7.3. We have an average of 7.56.
I like that.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a 7.53.
Ooh.
And
okay,
X-Men
good.
2 was a 7.5. Spider-Man Homecoming, last week's episode, was a 7.76. Check that out. But yeah, it was 17th place, guys.
Okay. Wow.
This is this
17th.
movie?
Wow.
17th place. Thor 1 was 14th place.
So Thor 1 is better.
Yes. Thor 1, we gave an 8.2. This one we gave a 7.56.
Good.
Wow.
I'm glad.
So very close. It kicked X-Men Apocalypse out of the top 20. So sad.
Oh.
But yeah,
Don't care. What's
X-Men
our
The Last Stand is now kicked out of the top 30.
Do you want to quickly remind us what our top 5 looks
Top
like?
5, Winter Soldier, Logan, Civil War, The Avengers, Guardians 2.
Guardians 2.
And then I do want to mention Days of Future Past is 6th.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is 7th. Guardians of the Galaxy is 8. Iron Man is 9. Doctor Strange is 10. Isn't it amazing how we can have 10 movies that are just
Strange.
bangers?
Doctor Strange is in the top 10.
That's crazy. Doctor Strange is high.
What is 11?
Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Then Age of Ultron. Then First Avenger. Then Thor. Then Spider-Man, Raimi.
First Avenger,
Then
that's
Homecoming.
the
Then
one.
Ragnarok. Since we're there anyway, might as
Yeah,
well
right.
list the rest of it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay. All right.
The next
So,
two for 19th place.
Remind me
Spider-Man 3
again
for 20.
what score Thor Ragnarok has.
7.56.
7.5.
And our series ranking, with Thor being an 8.2, Dark World being a 6.5, and Ragnarok being a 7.5. Our average is 7.4
For the trilogy.
for the trilogy, putting it just above the X Beginnings trilogy, just below the Wolverine trilogy, That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th place.
Ooh.
And this is also rounding out 2017 with an 8.6 for the average, making it our best year yet.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
2017? Oh, we had
2017.
Guardians 2, we had Logan.
Guardians, Logan, Homecoming, Ragnarok. All pretty solid
It's a
movies.
solid year.
That's
yeah.
true. That is
Yeah.
true.
Second place is 2014 with an 8.4.
Oh man, oh man.
And then 2016 in third.
Oh,
Pretty good.
so if that rounds out 2017, I assume we only have an epic action-packed 2018
Guys,
coming up.
2018 is packed. Black Panther, Infinity War, Deadpool 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Venom, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh man,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Rounding out the year.
Dude, why do I forget about those movies on this marathon? We get to watch, peak. I guess, dude, they really are in a league of their own. Oh man, that 2018 is
It
going to be
is
a good
the
year.
most movies in a year that we have ever gotten.
This is
that we
dope.
ever will
This
get,
is-
probably.
This is it, man.
6 movies in 1 year.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff, man. So Black Panther is next week.
That's right.
Is that right?
Black
Okay.
Panther is up next. This is a movie that I have only seen once. It started off as a folding my laundry movie, much like Doctor Strange, and Solo as well was one of those movies. And then I quickly became consumed in it.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to talk about it tomorrow, being 5 years removed or 6 years removed, something like that.
5 years.
There's
5.5.
definitely some time between this and when it came out. And we're going to definitely talk about that.
Also, with Black Panther being a Best Picture, was it nominee
oh my goodness,
or
yes,
Best
it
Picture
was.
winner?
No, it didn't
It
win.
didn't win.
No,
There's
nominee.
no way. Oh,
Nominee.
it was the Green Book, I think, that won that
Yeah.
year, which was definitely
Black Panther
definitely
nominated
deserving.
for Best Picture, Best Original Song, Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, won Best Costume Design, Best Original Score, and Best Production Design. No Marvel movie has come close to Black Panther in the Oscars.
Man, holy cow.
We get to watch it
Spider-Man
next week,
2
dude.
got
Yeah.
Best Visual Effects. Doctor Strange got Big Hero 6 won Best Animated Feature. Those are the only other Oscars
Big Hero.
won. Oh, and then
I
In the
digress.
Spider-Verse won Best Animated
I
Feature.
digress. I have many issues with the Academy Awards. Let me just say that right now. But we're going to get into that. That's a conversation for next
Yes,
week.
can't wait.
This week, Thor 7.56. It is number 17 on our list.
Tune
It
in
is
next week for 3 white dudes talking about Black Panther.
totally deserving. Let me tell you that right now. Hey, listen, I've definitely got my thoughts on the movie of Black Panther.
I can't wait to
all right?
watch it again.
Yeah, I am too.
And we're busting into the Phase 3 Part 2 box set.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
4K
dude.
box set.
Let me
4K
tell you right
box set.
now. I am very excited for what is to come because we're knocking on the doorstep of Infinity War, a movie that we have been building towards for quite some time. Nothing against Black Panther, but Infinity War, that's where the hype is. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm certainly feeling it after this movie. End credit scene has Thor and Loki talking about whether it's a good idea to go back to Earth and what's the worst that could happen.
Yeah.
Well, the worst that could happen is
Thanos
Thanos
is
can
coming.
pull up and absolutely wreck everything. So I had to sit down and watch the Infinity War
got to,
trailer
yeah.
that came out a month after this movie premiered. The Infinity War trailers were something else back in the day. And, just hearing Thanos' voice, dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. It got me hyped, man. It got me hyped. So I'm great looking forward to that, but look forward to Black Panther next week. Otherwise, this has been Rayside. I am Thor, son of Odin.
I am Micah, son of a podcast.
Signing off. We all hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day.